I like making an impact, having a positive impact on the society that I live in, and I think that's the biggest trigger for me to do what I do. My family comes from a very culturally diverse background, different religions as well. I have a Jewish background and also a Muslim background. That sort of came together and was mixed and then moved to the Netherlands. My name is Faryda Lindemann. I'm 35 years old. I work at NNIP as a responsible investment specialist, and I live in the beautiful city of Rotterdam. Growing up in a bigger city with so many different backgrounds, so many diversity, triggered me to think differently and outside the box. And I think that's also the way I approach things. We're on a rooftop garden in Rotterdam. There's a restaurant close by that actually they use the foods and the vegetables that are grown here, and they also sell it to local population. And I think that's also an impact you can have on a smaller community. I was studying business administration, and I had a teacher then who inspired me about the impact that companies have on stakeholders. Companies do have a lot of responsibility towards their stakeholders, and not just their shareholders or the people that work for them, but really the surroundings that they are in. And that really inspired me to move into that direction. At that time, there wasn't much on this subject at all. I remember when I started working, I was really looking for that thing that would sort of fit that balance of working in a corporation or working in an industry where you can have sort of a social impact or a softer impact. When I joined an asset manager, I was very young. A lot of it is focused on making money or making profits, a very male-oriented environment. That was quite tough for me in the beginning. I really sort of thought, like, is this really the environment where I want to work? One of the lowest points that I had was when I visited a company in the US. And at the time we invested in the company, and a lot of people were sharing stories about how poor the circumstances were where they worked in. I had struggle for sort of facing myself. Do I really make this impact? Because in the end, we still invest in this company that treats these people so poorly. That was for me really a trigger where I said, okay, this is not for me. I think the whole landscape was changing at that time for corporates. They had to think about how to structure a board better, or how to deal with their stakeholders in a better way, or how to make sure that they would not enter into any controversies because it would hit them very negatively. The head of equities at NNIP, he really inspired me about the role that NNIP had, and that sort of triggered me to apply and to really move to this company. I really saw this opportunity to change things for the better. I've seen a company that changed the agenda of their annual general meeting after we had several conversations with them. And that's quite an impact that you can have as a shareholder to really move them ahead of changing something. I find the topic of commodities very interesting because commodities play a big part in our lives. It's very important for our food consumption or the way we consume products that we use on a daily basis. And with a growing population, commodities are becoming more and more scarce. In addition, commodities are often grown in emerging markets or often produced in emerging markets. And I think the impact that it has there on local economies and local population is quite big. And that's where you also can really affect the change. It's basically talking to companies to really make companies more aware of the impact that they have on that local economy itself, and also talk to colleagues that invest in those companies to make them also realize what they can do in order to improve it. I visited a palm oil plantation at one point that also made me see the impact that you have as an investor on the companies that you invest in. Sometimes it's very difficult to connect to companies in that region, but it's also those companies that have a huge impact as well. That's what I was able to see with my own eyes, and that's really powerful. You can really have an impact and you can really make that difference. It's to really think about where you put your money and how to invest it in the most sustainable and most responsible way. Yes, I'm proud. Yeah, I'm definitely proud on what I've achieved and what I've accomplished, but also It's really nice to see the effect that it has. And you need to have a long breath as well to sort of stay in and have that focus that it will change. But are we there yet? No, definitely not. I don't think there are enough believers yet. If we had more believers, then the world would change a lot faster.